Yes. This is a question about the verb dominion in Genesis, that we are to have dominion over creation. And it has clearly been interpreted at times in church history as a mandate for destruction. I think it's always a problem when we take verses out of context and just go on one verse. And when we look at where that particular text comes, of course it comes in the context of God's loving creation, and that the commandment that he gave to people to keep and steward the garden creation. In fact, in Genesis 2, it's really the first thing about being human is that we care for the creation. And without being too technical, all of that thought world that we read there about being human in creation comes from the Exodus. It actually comes from the understanding that we have from the Exodus that the world is God's temple, and us being made in his image, we are there in some sense to represent the Creator. And it's completely obvious that to say that the Creator makes something lovingly and with care so that we can then exploit it to its detriment and our benefit, not the Creator's, makes no theological or biblical sense. So I think essentially the problem disappears when we put the text in its context. However, Lynn White was the first one to really raise this objection, the historic roots of our ecologic crisis, he called it. And he pinned the blame on Christians and dominion theology. And more recently, David Orr of State University of New York has done the same thing. And I think they did us a favor. I think even Lynn White was doing so as a critical friend, not a hostile inquisitor. And I think in challenging the Christian church to consider what it meant by those scriptures, he forced us back to a proper reading of them and to put our house in order. And as David Orr wrote recently, if that view is false, then he's waiting for the Christians to put their house in order and live a better relationship to creation.